Good morning. Don't touch that dial. The fate of the world depends on you listening to this podcast. This is Alex. Alex, and I'm driving to work. And today we're talking about making funny voices in the car by yourself because no one else can hear. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today is another commuting day, of course. So commuting days mean only one thing, that is rambling on for 45 minutes to an hour about whatever I find interesting. So today, on that subject, we have a topic that has been, top of my mind still for the past bit, and hell, maybe even maybe even all my life, and that is game dev, game design, that kind of stuff, making video games. I, as you may know, have been working on a little home project, writing some Win32, DirectX 11, rendering code, game engine, fun stuff in my spare time. And the past 2 weeks I've been at my new job. Things have been kind of crazy with the schedule. The commute has been rough a couple of the days. The weather around where I live has been quite bad, and that has turned my what should be 50-minute to an hour commute into a 3-hour one on one Sunday. Just not ideal. But you know what it is ideal for? Recording podcasts. So that's what we're doing. So anyway, last night I was finally able to get back to my game development project. I had to go, walk around the code a little bit, look at some of my VODs, just kind of funny actually, and try to, pick up the pieces to figure out where I left off. But it's something that I think I will be doing. Trying to squeeze in. I will be squeezing in like a half hour or so every day. So I really spent the time going through all of the code, breaking down all of the pieces that I still wanted to get to, things that were kind of, not so great. Yes, I basically turned my whole code base into a bunch of Jira tickets, for myself. And it's something that I think, when you're in like a big marathon programming session, like I had started the project with, it's kind of useless to do that because you're, holding the whole context of everything in your head all at the same time. But when there are a lot of like pickups and put downs on it, that is where something like that becomes important. Because I could even feel like as I was sitting down and trying to get back into it, I just wasted almost entirely of that time block just trying to figure out where I had left off. And so clearly that was a problem. Clearly that was something that needed to be solved. So that became priority number one in solving. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about what I'm actually doing in there. So my goal for the long time, top level goal, is to go write a real PC video game, get that thing shipped on Steam, and rake in the dough. I'm really interested in seeing end to end what it looks like to do a couple things, to create and release a product, to go through the whole engineering lifecycle, design, marketing, all that stuff. I'm super interested in that. That's a goal I've had for myself for a long time, is to end-to-end release something, whatever it ends up being. But I also I just love video games for the art of them, for the fun. I'm super excited to finally have like an outlet to put all of my video game related ideas kind of on, get them into the real, metaverse world, I guess. And I'm also just super in need of going through learning a whole bunch of different software engineering concepts and things, trying to implement as much cool different stuff as I can, which I think is already really come in handy. I don't think I can speak like a super crazy amount about my current work, but meeting it's very up and down across the tech stack of people coming from all sorts of different backgrounds, doing all sorts of cool, interesting things, and it's been really cool that being able to connect with people based on a lot of the skills and knowledge I've acquired just on my own in my hobby project time. So I've been very, very happy with how that kind of turned out. So anyway, back to the game itself. The game that, as we see it here, originally was a 2D sort of top down ish, fixed perspective space simulation, gravity and physics-based game where you're like a little rocket ship flying around the solar system with very limited fuel economy, and your goal to get around anywhere efficiently is to figure out how to use like the simulated gravity of all the astral bodies, planets and the sun and all this stuff, in order to slingshot your way around the world, or the solar system, and get places more efficiently, faster. So that's the game I had written, maybe like 2 years ago now. The actual top level game code, so all the code to go handle entities, to actually consume the controls and handle all of the collision and physics simulation. That was all me. That was all quite some time ago. But I had written that on top of Ooga Booga, which is a little lightweight game engine slash Win32 platform layer that was written by Charlie Malmquist. This was part of a this whole like little community effort thing to start like a game dev, sort of like a handmade game dev kind of club thing on school.com, under Thomas Randall. You may know him as Randy GG or whatever the hell his name is. This was code that was meant to be, used for all the people on that group to kind of like walk through and do stuff with. And it's actually a really cool little code base. If you've ever watched Handmade Hero or ever tried to get familiar with that, the Win32 platform layer that Casey kind of builds up over the course of like the first couple dozen episodes of Handmade Hero, that is basically what Ooga Booga is, plus a couple of really interesting, cool features, and planned extensibility to allow it to support all these additional platforms. I don't think Charlie ever really got to that, unfortunately. But there's all these hooks, and the APIs are all set up to re-implement the graphics API in, say, Metal or OpenGL or something versus DirectX 11. So that's kind of where I lived for a very long time while I was, messing around with game development, was writing on top of that Ooga Booga level code, trying to get familiar with like some game design stuff. I went through a couple of different types of games and tried to see how like they, you implemented them, how they would work. I got exposure to some of the actual like game feel and like top level problems of like drawing some sprites, making things kind of look nice, creating like UIs and stuff. All of like these like little pieces that if you were to just start from scratch and then just go at it, it would take a very long time to get to and to get comfortable with those things. So I'm very thankful for the time I spent with that Ooga Booga engine, with that system. But at some point I kept on hitting technical hurdles of things I just did not understand about how either the OS or rendering pipeline work for Ooga Booga. Things like how do all these different coordinate systems map to each other with NDC and then the world space and screen space, of like just not understanding really simple stuff like that because I had skipped over it. And so I kind of just got frustrated, and I put down the project for a little bit in favor of some other stuff, working on some web dev with a friend. It's some other little tiny things. But I always wanted to go back and rewrite basically all of Ooga Booga with as my own code, so that I could just get an understanding of how that all fit together and how that all worked. And so that obviously is a little bit larger project, and as I went on, I kind of I really lapsed. 2025 especially, not a good year for my hobby project game dev stuff. But at some point, just a couple of weeks ago now, I finally got back into it and started from where I left off, and started rewriting all of that platform layer code for myself. And I had a couple of really good sources, really good tools to help come up with this and really understand all of or all the things that would be useful in there. Of course, I was just kind of watching a bunch of YouTube. I revisited a lot of those early Handmade Hero episodes, as well as the Handmade Hero source code, which I spent the $15 for or whatever. So thank you, Casey. That helped tremendously, actually, to have that. So for me, very good investment. But yeah, that seeing all that and going with some of like the really good conceptual explanations Casey had of what you'd want and how you would implement this sort of like platform layer, this independent platform layer code. That was a really, really good, useful experience. So I'm very glad of that. Of course, I went back through all of the Ooga Booga engine code, grabbing pieces. I took a lot of stuff, or I brought a lot of stuff in over from there because I had this goal of wanting to bring my gravity simulation game code that I had already written and then just and get it working through my own platform layer. But that assumed a lot of the data structures and APIs from Ooga Booga. So I ended up having to grab like huge pieces out of it and try to fit them together on my own. And that's something that I still am really in the middle of and wanting to rewrite a lot of those and truly make them kind of my own, and have them the way I want. But that's that was the fastest way to get me back to to try to get me back to the point where I'm running my original game again. So there's that. One of the most valuable resources too was the source code of Moo Solutions, which is a cool Sokoban style game created in the Handmade style by Ted Bendixson, who's a friend of mine. He graciously gave me the source code for the game to go take a look at how all of the platform layer stuff sort of works. Ted's implementation has actual support for several different platforms, for at least 4. I'm getting a buzz right now. Give me 1 second. All right. Where was I? So Ted, actually for his game, he implemented this Handmade Hero style of platform layer and got it working for Windows, Mac, and iOS at least, with a couple of different rendering solutions. So with, I think DirectX 11 and Metal. I don't think there's an OpenGL implementation in there, but what are you going to do? And so that was really awesome to see a version of that code in production, quote unquote, like a production level version of that thing, with all of the different build systems that it kind of came with, and all the different ways that he had actually gone and used this stuff and seen how it worked or didn't. That was really awesome. I'm always thankful for Ted for granting me access to that repo and letting me poke around in there. It's been really cool. So with all of those different resources and a little help from our friend Mr. Jippity, I was able to cobble together most of like a Win32 platform layer code. At least all the big pieces of it, I think I have in place now. Big DirectX 11 rendering pipeline, the actual like window handling, and some input / memory allocation / file IO from the OS. And of course, I've got my big stack of game code as well. So I have all of these great pieces, and slowly it's been a process of kind of like of bringing them all together. This is certainly not, this 2026 version of this project is certainly not from completely from scratch, from green field, because I'm just inheriting a lot of stuff right now, a lot of assumptions and ideas from these different sources, mostly to be able to bring over my game code and have that continue working. It's maybe a sunk cost problem, but it's also a, if I'm going to actually go through all the effort of writing this underlying game engine stuff, I really want to be able to see which features are important, which would I need to actually get like a real game up and working again. So that's the idea, and that's kind of where things are, and it's a super awesome project. If you're a aspiring game dev or software engineer of any type who wants to release or is interested in like the native app or game technology stack of like going through building that stuff up, maybe doing any rendering at all, working on or getting code ready for a bunch of different target platforms. That is just a really awesome project to get to see all the different pieces of this thing come together and to try to get it to work and do something really cool with it. So highly recommended. I guess going forward, there are still many pieces of it. As I went through my to-do list last night, there are many pieces of this thing that I still need to kind of clean up to at least give it parity to like the Ooga Booga implementation for my game code to really run. So there's some stuff with how I'm doing some memory allocation, some stuff where the lines between the sort of like abstract platform layer and the underlying OS implementation are a little fuzzy. There's some features I'm missing with like rendering fonts or just loading files at all, and then getting texture mapping working, which I think actually, because I'm really just doing quads, I'm hoping is not too terrible. We'll have to see. And yeah, so there's kind of a number of different like technical things to do, and then I'm back into where I want to be, which is actually going in and doing some game design, writing some awesome stuff in that space. But it's been really cool, and I don't think I have too much else to say about that topic, so I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you all very much for listening. I hope that has inspired you to go write your own Handmade Hero clone, and gets really cracking doing game stuff. So thank you all very much for listening, and I will see you next time.